I don't work next year, I get to have my first year of a full school year without work, uninterrupted. So I'm good either way. I'm being optimistic.
Okay, so either way, it's a blessing in disguise if it happens or it doesn't happen. Now, what is your personal relationship with Charlie behind the scenes?
Lance Barber is set to reprise his role as George Cooper Sr. in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, marking a creative return after George's death in young Sheldon. CBS will need to navigate this carefully, as George's death was a pivotal moment in the Big Bang Theory prequel, which adhered to the canon of the Big Bang Theory series. Barber's return is confirmed for a cameo, likely through Georgie's dream, where George will provide guidance and emotional support, especially as Georgie struggles with balancing his family responsibilities. While fans are excited to see George again, there are concerns about how the return could impact the emotional weight of his previous send-off. The show faces the challenge of honoring George's legacy while avoiding undermining his impactful death in young Sheldon. Why Georgie and Mandy's first marriage is bringing Lance Barber back after George Sr.'s young Sheldon death. Lance Barber is officially coming back as George Cooper Sr. in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, but CBS will have to be more creative with his return. Despite its continued popularity, CBS was forced to cancel young Sheldon because of the Big Bang Theory canon. The prequel was already reaching its natural endpoint, and despite creating countless plot inconsistencies before, the producers decided to stick to the canon. Ultimately, the end of Sheldon's childhood was defined by two things: his move to California and George's unexpected death. Both arcs played out in the spin-off Send-Off. Had Chuck Lorre and the rest of his writing team decided to totally break away from canon, young Sheldon would have continued and likely tackled some of the major plots in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. Despite the shift in storytelling focus, with the McAllisters becoming its extended cast, the Cooper family and its story remain an integral part of the Big Bang Theory franchise's expansion show. This is evidenced in the returns of Mary, Missy, and Meemaw. Because of that, George's return shouldn't be surprising, although the specifics of his appearance would have to be a bit more complex. Lance Barber is confirmed to return as George in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage less than a year since the young Sheldon finale. CBS is bringing back Barber as George for a cameo in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. Montana Jordan and Emily Osment's show is arguably the spiritual successor to its parent show, despite barely having any ties to the Big Bang Theory. Following the returns of the remaining Texas-based Coopers, its recent episodes have been more focused on exploring the McAllisters some more, including Mandy's eccentric brother, Connor. Sometime in the near future, however, Georgie's clan will be back at the center of its storytelling with Barber's return. While no longer a cast member, the actor has actually kept in touch with his young Sheldon castmates, even attending the live studio filming of Georgie and Mandy's first marriage's first Thanksgiving episode, which featured Mary, Missy, and Meemaw all sharing the screen for the first time since the old show wrapped up. In terms of the narrative, George remains as relevant as ever, since Georgie's arc as a father has been drawing some parallels with the Cooper patriarch. That's on top of him taking over looking after his mom and siblings, a role that his dad originally had. How George will return in first marriage after his young Sheldon death. Unlike Mary, Missy, and even the California-based Sheldon, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage needs to be a bit more creative when it comes to George's return. Barber has made it clear that while he will always be open to reprising the beloved role, it would have to be in a way that doesn't cheapen his character's demise, which is a major turning point in his family's overall arc in the franchise. So, mining inspiration from his own experience, Lorre decides that George's return in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage will be through Georgie's dream. Considering George and Georgie's mostly contentious relationship in young Sheldon, this reunion will likely be a highly emotional one. As it turns out, baby Cece's father would be racked with anxiety about failing his father's legacy. Georgie and Mandy's first marriage established early on that Georgie's primary struggle is finding the balance between taking care of his two families. His father comes into him via a dream and likely gives some encouragement. Considering George and Georgie's mostly contentious relationship in young Sheldon, this reunion will likely be a highly emotional one. No additional details have been revealed, however, about the episode, but it will more or less come out in the next month or two. Why George's return in first marriage equal parts exciting and worrisome. It's an understatement to say that Barber is beloved by the young Sheldon fan base. Because of his portrayal, the prequel was able to redeem the Cooper patriarch's bad image that was long established in The Big Bang Theory. This was also the reason why the young Sheldon finale was so emotional, even though his death had been confirmed for years. So seeing him again reprise this role and step back as George in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage is exciting. That being said, this doesn't mean that it doesn't come with massive risks. Depending on how they execute it, George's return could fall flat, resulting in tarnishing an otherwise perfect send-off for the character in young Sheldon. Beyond that, it's simply too early to bring him back, even though Georgie and Mandy's first marriage is able to pull off his tricky cameo. For now, however, hopefully the show can do Barber's return justice. Enjoy Screen Rant's primetime coverage? Click below to sign up for our weekly Network TV newsletter. Make sure to check Network TV in your preferences and get the inside scoop from actors and showrunners on your favorite series. Ian Armitage, at just 16, has secured a spot as one of the wealthiest child actors in the world, thanks to his breakout role as the young Sheldon Cooper in Young Sheldon. The Big Bang Theory prequel, which aired for 6 seasons, skyrocketed him to stardom and significantly padded his bank account. I've been doing it for 7 years, so it doesn't really feel that much like a massive acting challenge anymore because, up until 3 weeks ago, I was doing it every day, for 5 days, Ian Armitage told the LA Times after the show ended. He added, "I go through hair and makeup, I slip on those shoes and I'm in character. The more interesting thing, to me at least, will be when I next act." The Big Bang Theory marks a major streaming accolade even though it has been off the air for half a decade. Created by Chuck Lorre and Bill Prady, the nerd-centric sitcom wasn't a hit from the get-go. CBS made some changes to The Big Bang Theory's original pilot before they could even greenlit it. Once it settled on its first 5 characters, Sheldon, Penny, Leonard, Howard, and Raj, the sitcom was able to easily endear itself to audiences. The addition of Amy and Bernadette years later only amplified its success. For the majority of its run, The Big Bang Theory was CBS' premier comedy. It was also the biggest sitcom of its time, leading to the franchise's expansion with Young Sheldon. Despite its popularity, CBS was forced to pull the plug on the comedy because Jim Parsons decided to leave, and instead of continuing with an incomplete cast, they decided to wrap up the show properly. The Big Bang Theory finale ended up being a sweet send-off to the Pasadena gang, but clearly, some of its fans remained committed to it, per Anu.